Hello there. We are underway in celebrating our first year anniversary. And if you don't already know about it, I'm hosting a raffle and giving away more than $2,000 worth in cash and prizes. So if you or a friend have access to an Apple product, you can enter to win. For the complete details, go to sayyesToYourSoulPodcast.com. All right, here we go with another soulful episode.
I was an everyday woman. I was the girl next door. I was a wife, a mother. I was a daughter. I was a granddaughter. I was a friend. I was an employee. I was a business owner. I was everything to everybody except myself.
Hello, I'm Tessa Lynn Alburn. Welcome to the Say Yes to Your Soul podcast, where we empower women to connect with their souls and shine in their business. If you are ready to embrace your brilliance, create meaningful connections, and be compensated for your specific gifts, you're in the right place. Join us as we explore inspiring stories, practical insights, unique points of view, and soulful strategies, all to help you thrive. So let's dive on into this transformative journey together. Tune in and say yes to your soul. Hi there. I'm so glad you're with us today on Say Yes to Your Soul. And our guest is a very fun gal. Her name is Kathy Baldwin. She's a renowned coach and founder of Rise Up Coaching, where she specializes in empowering individuals to overcome personal and professional challenges, including stress and burnout. With a deep understanding of universal laws and innovative coaching methodologies, Kathy has become an unplanned expert in stress and burnout, guiding countless individuals towards personal growth and transformation. Her unique approach integrates energy healing and a profound grasp of the holistic impact of burnout, making her a sought-after authority in fostering resilience and well-being in the face of stress. And I want to have her share a little bit about her book. She wrote a book called Unlearn the Crap about personal success and empowerment. So we'll start somewhere around there. But Kathy, we'll just really welcome you here to Say Yes to Your Soul.
Oh, Tessa, I am so happy to be here. I have been waiting for this moment.
You have. We've been waiting for a while. We got through the holidays. We met before, and life has been just like giving us all kinds of interesting things to balance with and learn and hold. And here we are. We made it. I'm so happy. Yay. And I love your blue, by the way. You look good in that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So tell us a little bit about, not everybody will name their book Unlearn the Crap, right? So that says a lot about you. You definitely have a strong personality. You love to laugh, which is one of the things I really like about you. But what brought you to create that book, to write that?
Well, I was a believer of all that crap about what it takes to be successful, what it takes to be a woman in this world, what it takes to be a true, authentic human being. I believed all that crap, and it almost killed me. And,
yes.
Literally almost killed me. And so when I came out the other side and did my own healing journey and created my Rise Up program, I knew that there was a message that was so important that the world got to hear, that we have been lied to. We have been systematically disempowered. We have been kept as part of the majority has been kept as the minority in wealth and health and every other aspect of life.
And I don't think anybody would disagree. None of the people in that minority, the so-called majority, would disagree with that at all.
Yeah. And it's time to end. And I believe we're in a paradigm. Yeah. We're in a paradigm change right now. And so I feel really passionate that people need to learn the truth.
I love that. Thank you for speaking to that. And so, Unlearn the Crap. Kathy's got a great book. Go ahead and give it we'll have the link in the show notes. So in case I forget to say that later, it'll be there. If you're not sure what the whole title is, you can just get it there. And Kathy, your story, like when I heard you the first time tell me a little bit about it, I was like, oh my gosh, like she was really, really about to die. Like, this is an incredible journey. So where would you like to begin with that and up to that point where you had that, your epiphanies, your breakthroughs, and you managed to get through?
I was an everyday woman. I was the girl next door. I was a wife, a mother. I was a daughter. I was a granddaughter. I was a friend. I was an employee. I was a business owner. I was everything to everybody except myself. I had a lifetime of traumas that I didn't recognize were traumas. And they created a lot of dysfunctional, people-pleasing, self-sabotaging behaviors that were based on the rules of society. Everybody comes before me. I'm here to be of service, that I'm not as important.
Okay, so in terms of you had these traumas, but you didn't recognize they were. And was that because people weren't allowing you to talk about it? Or like what was sort of the general thing that was happening that was keeping you not making that connection?
I thought it was normal. I thought everything that was happening was normal. And I bought into those lies. I bought into everything. And if I got myself put into some really dangerous, horrible positions, and I suffered so many things. I don't like to talk about it. I mean, I'm happy to talk about it and lay it all on the table, but that is the past, and it's not part of my story now, which is what I teach in Unlearning the Crap, is that we don't have to dig up bones. We don't have to go through therapies and dissect everything and be re-traumatized. We can just cut it off and put it behind us.
So what led up to you being able to do that?
Well, I was too strong for too long. My body was screaming at me for years. It started with gentle things like IBS or headaches, and then it developed into full body pain, and you couldn't touch me. I developed osteoarthritis, fibromyalgia, adrenal fatigue. I needed to have both knees replaced. My body was deteriorating, and nobody knew, or really, it was like, oh, you're fine, because they couldn't find disease. And so as I spiraled down, and eventually all of that happens when you have so much stress and everything trapped within you, it develops depression and anxiety, and you start getting burned out, and you lose joy for life. You lose your ability to connect with who you are. And eventually I had major mental health issues and was hospitalized twice.
Oh my goodness. So, and how old were you the first time that happened?
My early 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then was it just a few years after that, the second time around?
Yeah, a few years after that, because it was, okay, this happened. I ended up in the hospital, and everyone is like, oh, you're okay. They sent me home and to deal with the same problems I was dealing with. And I didn't have anything new to cope with everything that was happening inside my body. If you looked at my outside of my life, I had a beautiful home. I had a family. I had a great job. everything about the outside of my life looked like it was awesome. So nobody understood what I was going through or what I was feeling. I think that was part of the problem, is I didn't tell anyone because I was supposed to be the one fixing everything.
Oh, yes. Classic, like mom sort of identity, or the caretaker, the good girl,
Yes.
just keep it inside and not share it because it's a burden to others, that sort of thing.
Don't let anyone see you cry. Keep everything behind closed doors. What happens there stays there. These were all the rules that I led to believe. So my pivotal moment was I went to see a psychiatrist. Finally, my doctor figured out and sent me to a psychiatrist. And I had put so much hope that I was finally going to get help. And so when the doctor had me lay down every single trauma of my life and lay it all out on the table, when I was done with my inventory of traumas and stresses and abuse and everything, he sat down and said, okay, he wrote me a prescription, handed it to me and said, I'll see you in a few months. I left that office and I knew I was spiraling. I knew it. I could feel myself losing control of my brain. I could feel it like spinning, and I was trying to hold it together. And I was reaching out to people, but of course, nobody knew what trouble I was in. So when I was reaching out, they were saying, can I get back to you later? I'll call you soon. And nobody understood. And I had the door broken down and dragged to the hospital. And so when in the morning, a new psychiatrist came, and I had felt my brain coming back as I was in the hospital room and they were watching me, and I could slowly feel myself coming back. And by the time the psychiatrist came to see me, I was talking to him like I am talking to you. And he's like, what happened? And I told him, and I said, I'm fine now. I have control of my brain. I know what's happening. I'm okay. And I went back to that psychiatrist, and you know what I said to him? I said, do you know what happened to me when I left your office? Do you know where I ended up? Do you know what happened? And his reply to me was, my role in your healthcare is to properly drug your brain and give you the right chemistry.
Oh, yeah, it's just absolutely maddening and sad and sickening, But unfortunately, we do have so-called healthcare workers out there doing things like that. And so he didn't really even care that he had, by his questions and the way that he was with you, it actually re-traumatized you so much, it destabilized you. It was impossible to deal with, and you thought you were going to get the support you needed. So it was a whole setup.
Oh, it was horrible. It was the darkest moment of my life. Now, in retrospect, I knew that there was going to be a breaking point. Would that have been the best breaking point? I don't know, because it was the breaking point. When I came home from the hospital the next day and I looked around and I'm all by myself, and I said, okay, if you don't do something, you are going to die. And I knew I was too young, too smart, too much to give, that how could I let this take me? And so it's like, okay, you have to do this yourself. You've had to do everything for everybody else all your life. Now you have to do it for you. And so thank God I had been a curious student of biology and neurology and quantum physics and energy healing and Albert Einstein. I mean, I was like just a sponge. I'm a Gemini. So anytime something happened and I was like, oh, I wonder about that, I would go and wonder about that. So, and because I was also in corporate and in management, I was able to take things like root cause analysis and start to figure out, and it's like, okay, let's get to the beginning. Let's start at the beginning. And from there, I was able to take a look and say, okay, The Kathy that was, she's gone. Humpty Dumpty is not going back together. And when I looked at the pieces of my life, I thought, well, I don't want to put it back together. That was horrible. That's why it brought me here. So who do I want to be? And I know you help people build business. And I've built businesses and I've written business plans and everything. Nobody ever told me that I could design my life and myself the same way I could build a business. I could create a mission, a purpose, value statement. I mean, I could create my own boundaries. I could create my own belief system. I mean, I did not have to be stuck with whatever was thrown at me that put me in this position.
Well, I think this is like one of the things that makes you so unique in my experience of having met people who, have overcome something, is there was such a clear delineation for you of like, I'm not going to try and like fix and paste all those pieces back together. Like that was just too much. And instead you asked like this great question, who do I want to be? And you're like, you applied, you had some critical thinking somehow and you applied business techniques to identity and it worked. You have become the person you wanted to be and so much more in wonderful ways. But it just seems, I mean, I get chills when I'm thinking about it because there must have been something in your soul, like I think of it like soul, or in your guidance, your divine team somehow helped you to see that, because it would have been so easy just to say, screw it all, I'm checking out, or I'm never going to say anything again. I'm definitely never going to go get help, just like close down. But you didn't. You had a fire inside of you. You had something. And in your memory, do you recall like any kind of inspiration around that, or some part of you that was just like, I have to do this because of a greater purpose?
Well, I've always known there was something more. I've always known that I was destined for something, but I couldn't attach to it. I couldn't connect to it. But it was just such a deep, deep feeling my entire life. And so I was always trying and seeking and learning and trying to figure out, because I knew, and that's what Unlearn the Crap book is about, is during my healing journey, I figured out that my body was talking to me, that there are hormones and chemicals that our body emits that are signals of what is happening within us. And our inside is trying to tell our cognitive brain, hey, this is what's happening. This is what you need. This is where I want you to go. And I didn't know how to listen to it. I was so filled with the noise of what was supposed to be, or who I should be, or what was expected of me. So it was just like just pushing all that other inner guidance away and saying, I'm supposed to do this, should be doing this, all the supposed and shoulds. Yeah.
And but you had that clarity at that certain point where that inner voice had been there so long and so strong in you, you were able to seize the moment and the opportunity for yourself.
Yeah. One of the things that had made me a people pleaser is I was so afraid of losing people. I used to say that abandonment and rejection were my kryptonite. And so I would do anything not to feel those feelings of rejection or abandonment. And I would put myself in a really horrible position not to feel rejected. And so here I was in this place and I was all alone. I literally lost everything. I lost my home, my relationship, family, my friends, my job, my health, my money. And so I'm sitting here by myself and I'm thinking, okay, the worst has happened and you're still alive. Now what are you going to do about it? Like, you can't be worried about the worst happening because
it just did. Yes.
It happened. So now what are you going to do? And so it was funny because during my healing journey, and I went to the root cause, I'd always felt that I used to say this joke because I was an unplanned child and my parents had to get married because I was coming along. It was the 60s, right? That's what you did. And I always knew that my mother's choice would have been to terminate if she hadn't had that available to her. I always knew that. But my sister was the love child that was created in marriage. And so I used to say all the time that I was the experiment, the unwanted one, but she was the chosen one. And so when I went I'm making in jokes all the time, and it was self-deprecating and whatever. But at the end, I realized that my belief system had come to the place that because I was the child of an unplanned pregnancy and my mother had to get married in order to be accepted, the shame that she had felt of, this happening to her, all of that I realized through my healing and part of the universal laws, which I explain all in my book, but there is a truth to any side of the story. And here I was choosing a story that said that I didn't belong here, that I had to earn my keep, I had to earn my worth. But when I looked at it from the point of universal law of relativity, and I realized, well, my mom didn't know I was coming, and my dad didn't know I was coming, but that's just because they didn't know. But guess what? Here I am, and I am here for a purpose and a reason. And it is time for me to find out who I am and what that reason is, because I believe that we all have a purpose in this world. And when we are pushed down and we are disempowered and we are beaten down, we have no value other than workers and consumers of a system that has no value other than profits for some people. But we have a gift, and the world is waiting for that gift. And so as soon as I connected the fact that I belonged here, and that was their judgment, and they didn't know I was coming. That was their stuff. It wasn't mine. I'm like, here I come.
Look out, world. Yes.
Yes. And so I went from a story that broke my heart and made me feel so small and broken and helpless to a story that put life in me, that makes me smile, that gives me joy when I wake up in the morning. And all it was changing my story about an event that happened to somebody else.
This is so beautiful. And what I am especially happy about right now is this message to everyone. It's not just women, but everyone, kids, that we do have a purpose and we get to choose what that is. But but what happened for you, what I'm hearing you say is, in your experience, you were able to believe it. You're like, I do have a purpose. That's my new story. And you owned that and you created from there. And then, of course, you have a purpose. And so I want to just take this moment and say to all the listeners who might be thinking, oh, I don't know what my purpose is. I'm worried about that. I'll never find it. Like all those things. It's not true. You may feel that way, and that's understandable. But you actually do have a purpose. You are here for maybe more than one. Who knows? But at least one. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
And you wouldn't have come in. There's a reason every soul ignites here. Yes. Yeah. Comes into this life.
A baby does not arrive in this world feeling that it doesn't belong or it has no value. It just knows it is, right? And everything that happens is wiring our brains by program. We're being programmed. And there is a whole neurological, biological, chemical way it happens. And I do teach that in the book.
Yes. And so I know we could probably talk for quite a while, but everybody's brain capacity is only so big these days, including mine.
But I just get so excited to be able to tell people that they've been lied to.
Yes, they've been lied to. And some of them are going to hear that like, oh, that's conspiracy theory or whatever they think. But they have, because the people who taught us had been lied to. They may not have believed they were lied to, but truth comes from our soul. It doesn't come from books. It doesn't come from history. We get lessons from those things, but truth comes from within and through the connection to the divine. And so we want to keep cultivating that, and we don't need a proxy for it. Like, we don't have to go to somebody who does the proxying of the message, but the more we can learn to make that connection ourselves, which we can do through some of the skills that you have, the techniques, and some, I've been doing things like this also, helping people to develop that. That's the key, to keep developing one's connection to the divine, to source. So you know the difference between a truth and the truth.
Absolutely. There are two things that I believe prevent us from seeing that. And the first one is our brain. We have a part of our brain called reticular activating system, which is a screen door. It only lets in what we have put in our brain as important. And so if our beliefs are telling us that we have no value, we don't belong, we're not important, whatever that is the only information that's going to come in, which is part of the lie. It is just programming.
Yes. So this is the part, pardon me, but I just want to make sure that some people understand this. This is like the part that makes negative things stick around longer than positive ones.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It's built into our survival mechanism because positive things won't kill us. Negative things will. So our brain is wired into safety first. And our brains are designed to keep us alive. Our brain doesn't care if we're happy or we're healthy or we're thin or we're wealthy. I mean, our brain does not care about any of that. It's just
the bottom line is alive and safe and alive.
Yeah.
That's it.
And if you're breathing, your brain is happy.
Fantastic. Yes. Okay. The second thing
is we've had a social system that has come down from thousands of years of the haves and the have-nots. Who got to learn what? Who had access to what? And it has perpetuated to the point where now we have marketing and corporations that understand how our body chemically and neurologically, energetically is wired and programmed. And they can use that information to get us to do what they want. Well, if we understand how our body works, if we understand the chemical, if we understand the firing systems, if we understand the interconnected of all the systems, then we can no longer be controlled when we understand how our brains work.
Yes.
And then we can hear what our soul is telling us.
Yes, and we have utter sovereignty in that.
Yeah, but we can't hear it with all this noise. And that's why when people say, I don't believe it, how do I find my purpose? You don't find it. It is you.
Exactly. Yes. So it's eliminating, it's unlearning the crap.
Unlearn the crap.
So that you can hear. And all right, so I would love, before we wrap up, I'd love for you to share, like, what's the tip or the one piece of, guidance you want to give right now around, maybe it's around the brain or something that people can put into action in their lives?
Well, the first thing is that we all have a purpose, and we all have everything that we need within ourselves. We just haven't been taught. We haven't learned how to access it. We don't know how it all works. That is the only thing we're missing, is knowledge. and experience. So we have the proof of it. So once you get that, you have everything you need. You do not need anybody on the outside to guide you. Your heart, your dreams, your goals, your joy, your emotions, every part of it is designed to guide you. And all we have to do is learn to listen. And then here's my big mission and my big purpose of what I'm doing.
Yes.
I believe we're in a major paradigm shift. The world is changing really, really fast. We have things happening like AI and automation and all sorts of things. I believe we are in a time where all of those menial activities, those repetitive tasks, repetitive labor, whatever, are going to go to machine. And this gives us humans the ability to do what only humans can do: innovate, imagine, create, compassion, build. Like, we get to step into the things that computers can't do. We have this specially unique part of us. And if we could all get away from what was, stop trying to get back to normal, that never was supposed to be normal, and step into the place where you know that your gift is guiding you. To me, it comes in dreams. So if our dream is to have a mansion and now we're told it's selfish, well, it's not. It's just the language our body is saying. We need to get you to go where I need you to go. This is the only vision. This is the only language you know is the physical world. So if that's language I have to speak to you in, I'll tell you how to get to the mansion. You just go and you'll get to where you're supposed to go.
Yes, it's that saying, you don't need to know the how. You just have to take the steps. It's not your business. I have a friend who says, it's not your beeswax to know the how. And it's not really. If we worried about the how, we literally would be just frozen in fear all the time. If that's, the main strategy we had. And that's why we see a lot of people frozen in their lives.
Well, the how is too big for us to comprehend.
Exactly. We can't know because the possibilities are infinite.
It's unbelievable. When you bring quantum science into and quantum physics, and you bring that into the energy and the human capabilities, and when you understand we're only using 5% of our brain power and that there's so much more that we can do. And I'm not a Bible person. I'm not a religious person, but there's a line in the Bible that says you can do this plus so much more. We've been told for thousands of years how capable we are, and yet we've been made to believe we're small.
Well, thank you so much for bringing this conversation here today. I'm so happy that we got to do this, and I think timing is perfect, and I just love your energy, and I'm so glad you asked yourself, who is it that I want to be? Who do I want to be? And you found her, and you became her. And
I created her.
You created her. You innovated her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
We can build business. We can write books. We can do all this. We can build ourselves.
Indeed. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, we're back because I forgot all about Kathy's free gift, which is pretty cool. So I want her to have the opportunity to tell you about it. So Kathy, please do that.
Thank you so much. My free gift is a burnout assessment quiz. It's a free quiz online. It is important for me for people to understand that stress and burnout are the result of us being so far out of our own personal alignment. And we are dealing with 76% of the population is under extreme stress.
How much?
We have 76% of the population.
Okay.
1 million people in America call in sick every day from stress and anxiety and depression.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, we have burnout is now becoming epidemic. Mental health is epidemic. we are creating more and more diseases that are the result of stress and inflammation and how it's physically affecting our bodies. This is the tipping point that we need to turn back and understand that stress is not normal. It is not a badge of honor. It does not mean you are a good person because you've worn yourself out and you've given yourself to everybody else. It means you're not taking care of the most important person in your world, because you came here to live your life, not somebody else's.
Exactly. And you have a free gift to help people to
Yes. Sorry. That's what that burnout quiz is. It's a self-assessment that gives you the idea of how at risk you are for burnout. Because trust me, I know what it's like.
I love it. So it's an important quiz. If you think, if anybody listening here, or if you have a friend that you think is at risk for stress and burnout, you might want to just send them over to this link and let them take that assessment, or take it yourself and just see where you stand on things.
Yeah, absolutely. One little thing I wanted to say about that is it's not always about stress and burnout, because if you have the least amount of stress, you're probably not living your potential.
Yeah, if you're just like, there's definitely potential missing there. A little bit of
and
stress.
The world needs you.
A little bit of like pulling. We want to pull that rubber band of life, those energy bands, so that there can be we can shoot off to whatever the creation is that what is Abraham Hicks calls it, rockets of desire. Right. Yes. So there's that tension. And so tension, we can use tension in productive ways, but we want to not be stressed and like freaking out and having that lead to burnout for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. We need to be energized.
Yes. All right. Okay. So there we have it. Thanks again, Kathy.
Oh, Tessa, thank you.
I really appreciate you being here on Say Yes to Your Soul. All right.
I could not think of a more appropriate title to go along with Unlearn the Crap than Say Yes to Your Soul.
Say yes to your soul and unlearn the crap already. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, thank you. It's been fun to laugh with you. And listener, I just invite you to question everything. Just question it. You don't have to fight it or make it wrong or any of that, because it's very possible, very probable what you're hearing, what you're being told, somebody else actually believes it. So let them. But for you going forward, just start to question a little bit here and there. What else could be true? And I will leave you with that for today. And I look forward to being here again next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye for now. All right. Thank you for joining us for this week's delicious episode. Before you jump off, I wanted to remind you to get entered in the raffle this month, because I'm giving away more than $2,000 worth of prizes in both private sessions and actual cash. What are those prizes, you ask? Well, one of them is a private 75-minute soul light healing session with me. And that can be healing on various levels. It might be releasing trauma, or tuning up your body or your emotions, or clearing things like past lives and karma that's been, energetic debris holding you back. This session can be very helpful and sometimes have dramatic results in relationships, money, and in your health. And we're going to do that together on Zoom, so it doesn't matter where you live. The second prize is a 60-minute coaching session with me, and that's also going to be on Zoom. So if you want support or clarity for your goals, like help with getting started with a project or just creating an action plan, that is going to be an amazing session. You'll be surprised at how much you come away with. The third prize is a personalized meditation that I will design especially for you. And of course, it's going to be yours to keep. So it's going to be fully personalized in terms of the content, and I will be speaking just to you so that you will be able to resonate with it and receive the maximum benefits that you want to create. Okay, now for the fun stuff, the cash. I have several cash prizes in various amounts. I've got several $50 prizes, $75 prizes, and $100 prizes. So you can see there are many opportunities to win here, and I just want to encourage you to be sure to play because you do need to play to win. All monetary prizes will be delivered through PayPal or Wise, and if you have a different currency, it'll be automatically converted for you. So as long as you have access to an Apple device, you can play. And all the instructions are available on our website at sayyes2yoursoulpodcast.com. That's sayyes2yoursoulpodcast.com. And if you need any support in completing your raffle entry, my team is ready to help you with that. You'll find their email on our webpage as well. So that's it. All the best to you, and may you say yes to your soul.